So here, if it was really Jesus telling Martha not to serve, not to be a deacon, then Jesus needed to learn his lesson and stand corrected. Our readings started with the gospel reading today. That was acknowledging that some of you may not like it. Maybe since you're a hard worker, or getting compared negatively against a sibling, or simply that you hear a criticism of what's much too often women's work. Maybe with a question of just who Jesus thought would make that meal and the bread and all of that and do the dishes if Martha didn't. So we started with the gospel in the place of what's usually the Old Testament reading, also as a mental reset. Well, though, if you already didn't like Luke, hearing implicit criticism of housework, of domestic labor, of what still is way too often known as a woman's place, then let me go ahead and make it worse and say that this may actually be trying further to diminish women's roles. It comes from the mouth of Jesus, and I really hope that it was the writer Luke who just put it on Jesus' lips. Martha has a strong social position, but what's more, hidden in the original language is that the tasks she's doing are described as diakonia. It's the word that gives us the title deacon, which became and remains a title in the church. Officially in the ELCA, we have pastors and deacons involved in word and service ministries. In the Roman Catholic Church, women still are not allowed to be deacons. And Luke is telling Martha and other women that they shouldn't be deacons. In Luke's sequel, the book of Acts, no woman is referred to as deaconing. There was a purge. The so-called better part that Mary has chosen is to sit passively in church, an instruction that no man is ever supposed to fill. Just listening. She doesn't ask questions. She doesn't respond in any way. Mary remains voiceless. Maybe not Luke, but Jesus here is telling women that. If so, I'd put it in the category with the Canaanite woman when Jesus needed to have his worldview and the purview of his goodness expanded. So here, if it was really Jesus telling Martha not to serve, not to be a deacon, then Jesus needed to learn his lesson and stand corrected. Maybe even doubly. See, for whatever you feel about Mary pitted against Martha, if the better part of sitting voiceless is actually trying to indoctrinate women's subservience in the church, then it got flipped around as a passage to promote Mary learning and has been used to foster women's theological education. If it were meant to keep women out, instead it's contributed to lifting them up. Take that, Luke, or Jesus, or whoever. Luke may have wanted to deny women as deacons, but in Priscilla we have an unignorable, authoritative early church female leader.